Hey guys, Nick here. In this video, I will answer the question what it means to be recycled during your Amazon interview loop, what happens to you after that, and what are some of the steps you can take in order to improve the likelihood of the company hiring you further on. Okay, before I do that, let's take care of the obligatory quick introduction. In the beginning, I am Nick. As I said, I was an Amazon bar raiser for 5 years. And for a subset of those 5 years, I was an Amazon bar raiser mentor. That's a person who certifies new bar raisers into existence. What does it mean to be a bar raiser? The bar raisers at Amazon have the outsized power to decide who the company should hire and who they should pass on. It takes a long certification process to become a bar raiser, and once you do, you pretty much get the key to the city and you can decide who raises the Amazon hiring bar and who they should hire. So after me doing that for 5 years and certifying new bar raisers for fewer years than that, after I've interviewed hundreds of Amazon candidates and certified tens of new bar raisers, I left Amazon about 5 years ago and started a service called Amazon Bound, where me and a small team, we help talented job seekers like you prepare for their Amazon interviews, ace those Amazon interviews, and change their lives by starting a new career with Amazon. So the format of this video is going to be slightly different than what I usually do. Usually I answer questions from the paying customers of our service, but in this video I decided to go through the YouTube comments and questions that we get on our channel, choose one that we tend to get pretty frequently, and I already told you what that question is, and answer those questions quite deeply for you in this video. So without further delay, let's do that. Let's jump into the YouTube channel. Here you can see the home screen of YouTube Studio. There are almost 3,000 subscribers. Thank you so much for that. And if we get into the comments section, loading, you can see the different questions and comments that I've been answering. If we scroll down, here's the question that I want to spend some time to answer today. This viewer, Snehal Moni 3769, asks the question, I just interviewed the full loop and my recruiter told me I have been recycled. Does this mean I need to go through the loop again? And this is a very good question, and as you can see, I answered it almost right away. This question came in 2 weeks ago. Answering questions quickly is important. Time is of the essence in the Amazon interview process, but I thought that it would be a good idea to spend some time and answer this question as fully as possible, because we're getting different versions of it from different people, and I thought it would help for you to get a comprehensive response. So by comprehensive response to the question, what happens when I get recycled during my Amazon interview, I have something in mind that contains 3 parts. It's a 3-part response pretty much. First, I'll explain what does it mean to be recycled during Amazon interview. Secondly, I will I'll describe what happens behind the curtains at Amazon when somebody is recycled and how Amazon views that candidacy and what are the steps they take after. And then thirdly, as part 3 of my response, I will suggest to you some steps you can take in order to improve the likelihood of being hired by Amazon as quickly as possible. Okay, so let's start with part 1 of what the heck does it mean to be recycled? What does it mean? What does the Amazon Recycle moniker mean? So if you take a step back, for context, there's 3 possible outcomes after your Amazon interview loop. 1, you could be hired. You could raise the Amazon bar, get hired, accept your offer, and start your Amazon career, which is fantastic. Outcome number 2 is you don't raise the Amazon bar and you are no hired, and then usually you're put on a cool-off period of about a year or a year and a half before you can interview again. And outcome number 3 is you're recycled. This means that you do raise the Amazon hiring bar, but there's some kind of glitch with that specific team and that specific role that prevents you from joining the company. So I know that when you get the response of no, we're not going to hire you, for a lot of candidates, it feels gut-wrenching, it feels very deflating. But actually, this is a blessing in disguise, and I'll explain in a bit why that is. And you should actually be kind of thankful that that you've not joined the company for the wrong team. So first, let's talk about what is that something that was likely missing in your candidacy, whereas even though you raised the bar, you were no hired by the team. It could be a number of things, right? It's largely a fool's errand to determine exactly what that thing was. It's just good to know that there was not a fit. So some examples of concerns or issues that prevented you from being hired on that team are, there could have been an internal candidate who applied for the same role. And usually when an internal candidate applies for a role as an external candidate, the external candidate does not stand a chance. It's an unfair fight. It's a knife to a gun battle, right? And you pretty much did not stand a chance. Another possibility is that potentially the hiring manager didn't quite like something in your performance. And we're all people. You need to work with that person. They didn't quite find a fit personality-wise, maybe working style-wise, what have you. And a third potential option is that they were looking for something very specific in terms of skill that you didn't quite have. You were very qualified in a lot of other ways, but this one thing that they need you to perform on almost right out of the gate, they didn't quite see in you. So it could be a number of other things as well, but those are a few examples. So whatever the case was, it was a deal breaker for that specific team. So the reason why I think you should celebrate the fact that you weren't hired by the team, and you should be kind of relieved by it, maybe not celebrate, but be relieved by it, is because it's plenty difficult to succeed at Amazon, even if you're surrounded by a good support system, a good support structure. It's a very challenging company to do well in. And imagine it's going to be even almost impossible for you to do well there if you are not liked by your manager, or if you're missing a critical skill component that the team is looking for. So effectively, the process looks out for you and shields you from a mismatch with a specific team. In addition, you should feel really, really good for being recycled, because the fact that you're recycled means that you've raised the Amazon hiring bar. And that's incredibly challenging, and very few people can do that. So you've already passed that hurdle. And the second hurdle that's left is a much smaller one, in the sense that you need to find the right team to join. But you've already proven in an Amazon interview loop environment beyond any doubt that you are better than half of the Amazonians at that level and in that job function. So there's a saying I like, how everybody wants to go to heaven but nobody wants to die. And even though it's a terrible saying, the point there is that you've already done the hard part. You've already proven that you've raised the bar. That is memorialized on your Amazon candidacy file, and now other teams at Amazon are going to have access to that file and see that you've raised the bar and consider you for their teams. So that's what it means to be recycled. That's why if you get the indication that you're recycled by Amazon, chin up. That's a really good thing. Now, the second part of my response is, what happens behind the curtain at Amazon once they encounter a recycled candidate? So the answer is, right out of the gate, they're not going to hire you for that team. As I said, they don't want to have a mismatch there. Then secondly, the recruiter on the team is going to look at how good of a fit you are with other open roles that the recruiter is responsible for. And usually recruiters at Amazon have one VP or one department or one group to service, and they usually have a number of job openings at any one point that they have to fill. So there's a decent chance that there might be another opening out there for you. So the recruiter is going to consider you for all these other openings, and depending on how similar the new opening is to the interview loop that you've just gone through, for that opening that you've just gone through and you were recycled for, the the follow-on loop or the follow-on evaluation by Amazon could be quite shorter than your original interview loop. So what's going to happen is they're going to consider you for a number of different roles. And if the role is the same function and the same level and under the same Amazon VP on the same team as the initial role that they didn't hire you for, then the follow-on interview loop will be very short. The preparation behind the curtain at Amazon would look something like the new hiring manager for that role would jump on a call with the original bar raiser and maybe the original hiring manager, and they're going to discuss what was the concern that prevented them from hiring you on the original team. And they're gonna notify the new hiring manager that, hey, here's the couple of concerns that I had with Nick's candidacy, and if you're okay with that, then we have certified that this person raises the bar at this level for this job function, let's say product management, and you're free to hire them. So if all of those things apply, it could be something as painless as the hiring manager having a video call with you and just seeing if the two of you are a fit. And just asking maybe some clarification questions on that area of weakness that they've identified, just to allay their concerns. Maybe jumping in and bringing one or two more people on maybe a loop of 1, 2, or 3 interviews without a bar raiser, and just to evaluate a team fit, because you've already gone through the dying part. You've already determined completely conclusively that you do raise the bar. So it could be something as simple as that on the one extreme to something as thorough as a brand new interview loop, right? So if you are interviewing for a different team, a different VP with a different recruiter under them for a different function, maybe you interviewed for a product manager originally, now you're interviewing for a program manager. If you're interviewing for a different team altogether under a different VP, then in that case, they will most likely assign a full loop from A to Z, trust but verify, with a new bar raiser, so on and so forth, and have you go through the same process again. Nonetheless, even in that extreme case, if you're willing to give them another day of your life of these endless 5 interviews on an interview loop, if you're okay with that, there's no downside for you really, because you've already proven that you've raised the bar and you know what's coming, and you likely are going to do very well during that second interview loop as well. So those are that's the spectrum of outcomes and eventualities and decision-making options that Amazon's considering when they have tagged you as a recycle person. Now, the part 3, the final part of my response, will touch on what are the steps you can take in order to improve the likelihood of Amazon hiring you in a different role as a recycled person. Now, you could decide to do nothing, right? Just lean back, put your feet on the table, and just let the process work to your advantage. You could totally do that. But there's always something you can do to improve your lot in life, right? And usually, let's say hypothetically, the recruiter does not have another open role on the original team that's similar to the role that you interviewed for. They're not going to spend time looking for a home for you on a different team that's serviced by a different recruiter, because recruiters at Amazon, they have quotas they need to fill, and they're only going to focus on filling those quotas and performing well, and they kind of don't care about what other teams are dealing with. They do, but secondarily, after caring about themselves first. So in that case, you might not hear back for a while from the recruiter, because they don't have a good fit for the candidacy that you provide, and they're going to wait for a job opening to come online, so that they can slot you in there as a recycled candidate. So instead of you waiting, what you could do is just push the process forward proactively. And you can take 2 specific steps. Number 1 is you can ping the recruiter and inquire about next steps, just to stay in the top of their inbox. So usually you can ping them about once a week, and that's not gonna make them mad. That's not gonna have them think you're a bother. So as long as you are courteous and you ping them about once a week for updated status, that's going to be totally fine. And that's going to give you a sense of hopefully what it is they're dealing with. Do they have openings similar to yours? Do they not? So on and so forth. So that's step one you can take. Step two is look at other openings on the jobs website at Amazon and apply for other teams outside of this recruiter's team that seem like a fit and have good open jobs underneath them that you want to join. So Amazon recently made it a requirement that you cannot apply for more than 10 open positions at the same time. That's quite okay. That's neither here nor there for you. You can apply to as many as 10 roles at the same time. Look for other jobs, apply to those jobs, and proactively put your candidacy in front of other recruiters and other hiring managers who now are going to see that you're recycled, and you immediately are going to get a head up over. You're going to get an advantage over any other candidate who is starting from scratch with Amazon. Now, it's important to keep those two streams interlocked. When you communicate to the original recruiter, keep letting them know that you're applying to these other roles, and ask for maybe guidance or suggestions or help as you do that. But take things into your hands and apply to other roles simultaneously. Notify the recruiter once and again. Keep working your channels, and eventually you're going to get hired. In my experience, it takes 2, 3, 4 months between the original loop that recycled you and the time when Amazon would make you an offer for a different role, because you've already raised the bar in their eyes. And if you're persistent, and if you're patient, and if you keep knocking on the door with these steps, you're likely to get hired by Amazon sooner or later within that time frame. Maybe sometimes it's longer, but that's usually a few months is how long it usually takes to get you there. So that's it. I hope this was a useful video for you. If it is, please subscribe to this channel. But more importantly, if it is, please let me know what other questions you have, and comment on the channel, ask those questions, or suggest brand new topics for me to look into. I would love to do this. Thank you so much for your time. The very best of luck to you in your Amazon interviews. You totally got this. Chin up, and talk soon.